So I'm here at APEC and had a series of meetings today with my counterparts, had a really good opportunity to talk to my APEC colleagues about our Indo-Pacific strategy and Canada's commitment to be here in the region and the investments that we are making in the region. But ultimately, with my colleagues, the conversations that we're having is about how we recover from this pandemic, what we can do to make sure that trade continues to flow, how do we continue to ensure that the rules-based trading system continues to work and that trade is and continues to stay inclusive for women entrepreneurs, Indigenous entrepreneurs, micro, small, and medium-sized businesses, and how we make sure that trade continues to be sustainable as well, and how we fight climate change here in the region and certainly for Canadians back at home.
How badly are Canada's relationships going to be hurt in China because of the role between Xi Jinping and our Prime Minister?
Well, China is a trading partner to Canada, and Canada is a trading nation. And we are also a country that upholds and defends the rules-based trading system. Our exporters and our businesses depend on the strength of a rules-based trading system. Today's China is not the China of the past. And you've heard Minister Jolie talk about helping businesses understand the risk. We've had some difficulties with China over the last number of years, particularly around trade, and our exporters and our businesses have experienced that. It is precisely why we are here in the region. It's why I've been here. I've been here several times. It's why our country is launching an Indo-Pacific strategy. It's absolutely essential that we expand into this region. It is growing. It's about a third of the global economy now. It's going to track to be about 50% and not too long down the road. So expanding and diversify our trade relationships in this region is really, really important. And you've seen us talk about the investments that we're making here in the Indo-Pacific, and I'm excited to do this work.
In the short term, do you expect some negative impact on Canadian businesses in China because of what happened?
Minister, I'm just picking up your paper when you crinkle it, so if you don't mind. Yes, sorry. You want to hear what you have to say?
No, fair enough.
Do you want me to repeat?
Yes, please.
Do you expect in the short term negative impacts on Canadian businesses maybe that are in China because of what happened yesterday?
I've said to Canadian businesses, our government has been really clear that we will support them and we will help them understand the risks and they will make the decisions that they need to make. We've also been really clear that it's important to have dialogue with China on issues that are difficult sometimes. And having that dialogue, but doing so in a respectful way, is what we will endeavor to do. We are going to work together on some areas that are going to matter a lot to Canadians, but indeed to the world, like climate change. We're going to be hosting COP15 in Montreal. We're going to be doing that, and it's China's presidency there. So that is something that we need to work on together. But there are going to be other issues where we are not going to agree, and we need to be able to have that dialogue. Minister Jolie has talked to her counterpart, but we have to have those conversations and be able to do that with China. And I think being clear with China to be able to do that is what is important. And as I said, respectfully.
On the Indo-Pacific strategy, before coming here, the government was talking about how these 3 summits would be helpful in finalizing that strategy, that these discussions were necessary, and that's part of the reason the strategy was not released. What do you think that Canada has gotten out of coming to these summits, and do you expect any clear deliverables and actionable items moving forward because of it?
It was really important for us to be in this region. I think this is my 9th time in the region. I think in Bangkok here, this is my 3rd time. 3rd time in Indonesia, the 3rd time in Cambodia in this recent visit. It's really important for us to talk to the economies and to the countries who we are deepening this relationship with. And yes, I think it has borne results. We are elevated at the ASEAN to become a strategic partner. You have heard us make announcements, whether it's $750 million to partner with economies and countries in the region to build green infrastructure, for example, and to unlock the private sector capital that is available to do that. I'm going to open a Canada trade gateway here in the Indo-Pacific so that it becomes Canada's front door to the region, so that we are helping Canadian businesses look at opportunities here, whether it's in Indonesia or in the Philippines, here in Thailand, in Cambodia. So yes, it is really important, and it is important to talk to our partners and in the region about what it is that we are doing, so that it really is a relationship. And I would say that they also appreciated it.
I asked the Prime Minister this yesterday. I mean, what do you think was going on in that exchange between Xi Jinping and the Prime Minister? Was this a power play on the part of the Chinese President to try to, I don't know, impose his power on the Prime Minister?
I think the Prime Minister, like Minister Jolie, like myself, we have meetings and interactions with our international counterparts all the time. It's important to do that. It's part of doing our job. I would also say that it's important to talk to Canadians about what we are doing. We send it out sometimes in readouts. I know you all read my readouts with every single word that I put out, but you also ask me questions about the work that we are doing with our partners and our colleagues and our international partners, and that is what that's what we are doing. That's what I am doing. Canadians expect us to share with them what our work is, and Canadians expect us to stand up for Canadian values. They expect us to be able to have difficult and challenging conversations, and our ability to be able to talk to Canadians through you, the media, is really important.
Today, China says it's condescending to do that. The spokesperson from the Foreign Affairs Ministry said that the intervention that Canada is doing is condescending. What's your answer to that?
My answer is that I meet with international counterparts all the time, and a lot of the times it is about about how to deepen our relationship. What are some of the issues we need to work through to solve a particular issue? Sometimes they are going to be difficult or challenging conversations, but at all times I share with Canadians what my work has been, what our work has been as a government, and Canadians expect that of us, and Canadians expect that of us, through our free press.
A lot of the Indo-Pacific strategy is about moving away from China and trying to diversify into other regions. I'm wondering if you've had conversations with your Chinese counterpart about this strategy, and what do they think about it? Because it does impact China quite substantially.
Well, as I said, Canada is a trading country. We defend and we uphold the rules-based trading system. Our businesses and our exporters count on that. They count on that trading system being functional. I've also said that China today is not the China of the past. We've had difficulties. Our businesses have had difficulties over the last number of years. So it's important for our businesses to understand that this is the global context in which they are working and that there are risks. I've always said that I'm going to support businesses where they work, including China, but I'm also, and our government is also growing in this region, securing more supply chains with other partners. Think about Indonesia as an economy of 280 million people and the consumers and the rising middle class that is there. I was just in the Philippines not that long ago, and we are pursuing and looking at infrastructure projects that we could be doing together, which I hope some of that $750 million is going to help us put some of those projects together. This region is essential to Canada's future economic prosperity because of its growth. And we want to make sure that we are doing business with China, but why not do more business here in the region? And that's what this, that's what the work has been. And I'm looking forward to keep doing this work here in the region.
Last question. APEC questions just quickly. Could you just articulate what is this about? Why are we here at APEC? How much of it is just getting that face time, and how much of it is getting actual deliverables?
Well, we've been here. I've been here at APEC. In fact, but up until now, it has actually been virtual through the pandemic. I've consistently had APEC meetings. I mean, during virtual meetings, sort of time zones a little different in Canada when we've been having them, but it is about how we work together as a trading system to make sure that cross-border trade flows happens. Think about during the pandemic. Think about export restrictions that came up. Think about how difficult it is, for critical supplies or critical food or medicines to cross over borders simply because export restrictions came up. So we work together with APEC economies, but indeed, I work with the WTO as well, and with our other trading partners to deal with those very issues of trade that our businesses and our entrepreneurs and our exporters depend on. Like, they depend on us as governments to work through those issues. When items cross borders, can they get through borders easily? Now that economies are opening up, how do we make sure that the people flow is happening? So they really are the nuts and bolts of trade, the rules that we all operate under, and to make sure that they are continuing to work. And for me, as the small business minister in Canada, as well as the trade minister, I want to make sure that we are opening up these markets and that we're helping businesses through some of these trade rules to make it easier to do e-commerce, easier for them to understand how to trade and how to get into these international markets. If you're a small business, not that easy to do. So that has been very much my work. And when I talk about inclusive trade, people talk about that in trade agreements. What is it? Micro, small, and medium-sized businesses, Indigenous businesses, youth-owned businesses, some of our amazing innovators, making sure that as small businesses, they are able to get the benefits of our trade agreements.
So if I understand it, it is about the face time, getting that face time and keeping those relationships.
Absolutely.
And for Chile, the thing today that you signed, I understand it's about investor-state settlement disputes. You're just affirming that you think CPTPP works. Is this just to placate concerns in Chile, or is this about Chile having concerns about other markets? Could you just tell us plain language what?
Yeah, it's about working with Chile. I mean, Chile is part of the CPTPP. They have passed the CPTPP ratification in their legislative system, and this is about reaffirming our ability to work together between Canada and Chile, so that there are, on the one hand, protections for investors, who are doing trade, but at the same time ensuring that Chile, can regulate in their own right that's important to them as a country. So it is about CPTPP. It is about the road to ratification. It's about Canada and Chile working together as trading partners, and it is and we're happy to always work with our trading partners to get them on that road or to assist in their ratification.
I'm sorry, guys, the motorcade's leaving. She's gotta
Okay.
go.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.